Welcome back to Our Community. Susie Thomas visiting with Julie Sparks from ICANN Housing. All right, you were talking about how people tend to open up their homes in the winter. Julie, tell me why. That's when they take the head count for the homeless in our area.
Goodness.
Because then
I know.
they're not as visible.
I love my government, and they sometimes make some really good decisions, and then they
Sure.
make that one. So
Yes.
across the nation, all of us are out there counting on some cold night in January. And
When no one will be outside.
it's I'll be honest with you, it's odd. It's odd to us as a community. I'm sure there's a rationale, and I'm not convinced that we know what it is. But, you play by the rules, if you will, and yeah. But you know what? Whether we get the number right that night or not, our community has what's called a coordinated entry system. So anybody who needs services can call one number and be counted. And
Okay, let's
Yeah.
give that number right now. What is that number? Do you know? Do you happen to know?
yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. We can get that off the website or something. We will find a place to
I'm
get
so
that.
embarrassed. My staff would be like,
no.
"Come on, Julie.
There
It's the homeless
is-
hotline."
And there we go.
Yeah, homeless
Call
hotline.
the homeless
Yes,
hotline.
Call the homeless hotline.
There we go.
And then they'll know that you need help, and they'll reach out to the agencies like ICANN Housing or the Y or the others and say, "Hey, this person called in and they're on the street. Can you go and round them up?"
And any of us out and about seeing someone that we think might be, as we said, in a precarious position,
Yes,
can we
yes.
all call the homeless hotline as well?
You have to. You
No.
really have to get them to call.
The
because they're
homeless
gonna-
person must call.
Yeah, because they're. I mean, but what we often, because they don't have a phone, maybe we often will let them use our phone, or that's another thing. Agencies will make space for people to make those calls.
Okay.
But they're going to ask them a lot of information about themselves right off the bat.
But we can call ICANN Housing.
You sure can.
And
I
to-
actually know that number.
Tell me that number.
Imagine it's 330. It's an easy one. 455-9100.
Let's give it one more time.
455-9100.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. That would be a really good one to put in our phone memory, just in case we happen to
Would be.
see somebody.
And you can
out
just
there.
tell us a location. You don't have to, just tell me, hey, tall, white guy with beard, corner of Whipple and Everhard or something. Okay. I don't need to know anything else.
I'm seeing more and more signs where it says, "I am a veteran." Is there a specific problem with homeless veterans right now?
Conversely, no, there isn't.
Really?
And I don't mean to sound cold, but our community, as many across the nation, has prioritized veteran homelessness. And we're extremely responsive. They go right to the top of, quote unquote, the list, and we house them as immediately as possible. So, but, going back to mental illness, sometimes it's hard to get people to kind of come in because they get ideas. I won't be able to be with my girlfriend or my cat. I mean, I'm not knocking people. I'm just saying, sometimes people won't accept help. But it is false to think that in Stark County that we are not actively serving our vets. We can help them today.
That's really good to know.
Yeah.
You mentioned pets.
Yeah.
Is there a place for homeless pets?
No, not in our community, not really.
Wow.
And that hurts people. Yeah, I'll tell you the truth. I don't know if I'd separate from my cat. But, those are national trends that are coming along. I would say that any housing that we own, people can have pets. So once if they move into ICANN housing property, they can bring them with them. It's sort of that shelter spot where the pets are a struggle. I just had a couple, and they selected to part ways, and we housed the woman for a little while, and the man stayed with the cats at the train station.
Oh.
Couldn't get him to move.
Oh.
And then we got him housing, and then they brought the cats.
Neat. A happy ending there.
Yeah.
ICANN Housing is where? How do you do what you do?
We have an office building down at 1214 Market Avenue North in Canton. So 12th and Market, everybody knows where that's at. We're Monday through Friday, but we also are on call all the time, so we might not be physically there otherwise, but we're tapped into our phones and ready to respond. So a person can come walking in. We have what's called a drop-in center. You don't need an appointment. Just walk in the door. We'll get you some coffee and get working.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You mentioned properties that you own where you actually do house people.
Yep. Yes, we do. We have, across Stark County, we have 43 properties, anything from just a family home like many of us have to, smaller apartment buildings. It's called a scattered site model, and when folks call into the homeless hotline, and we call these people or go find them and say, hey, we've got an opening. We have a place that you can come and see if it's something you would want. People can still say no. They don't have to go here, there, or wherever, but they usually do. And then we can house them for any duration of time. And so that means that the other part of our agency...
So they're not on the clock once they get in. You can house them for any duration of time?
Yes. I mean, that's a gross answer. A more subtle answer would be there's different types of programs.
Okay.
And so many are what's called permanent supportive housing. There are some called rapid rehousing, and that's really just that person who maybe they only scuff their knee a little bit. So they can get it up and going pretty quick in a matter of a few months or something. But let's say that someone who has severe and persistent mental illness, maybe has never had employment and just is really struggling. That's a person we all want to have stable housing, even though we recognize they may not be able to do it themselves.
Right. You always think of the children in cases like these and how disruptive that is, just even to how do you continue to go to the same school and same classroom if you live a different place all the time. How do we address those needs?
That is correct, and you can imagine that's an emphasis. We try to... our shelters do their ever level best to make sure that those children, let's say they're in school, are able to get back and forth to that school during even that period of time. So those services are in place, and it's true that if somebody gets into what we'll call permanent housing, that they may or may not be in that school district.
Right.
But maybe they can be in a new one for a lengthy time. So we can't stop things, but we can slow them and hopefully set a new trajectory.
Right. Those are people who have not done anything to be in the position they are in, and they're the ones who suffer.
And it's stressful. And that's, when we talk about mental illness, some people want to make it be something different than what it is. But you take a person and you give them enough trauma, they've got mental health challenges.
Sure.
So it's not just, Aunt Lucy who's, twirling in circles in the corner. I'm sorry I said that. But, I mean, it's just regular people having a hard time. Or a real hard time.
I think given different things that have happened over the course of the past year, I think our community really is pulling together to address mental health issues in young people, in adults, and so forth, and all the things that go into that, and also to understand the operative word there is illness. It's an illness. If you have diabetes, you take the medication necessary to control it.
Yep.
Why would mental illness be any different?
It's equally debilitating, and
Certainly.
it can equally, be stabilized.
Certainly.
So it's very similar.
Very
similar.
similar.
We sort of make, we do it. We have a connotation, but really it's the same.
Hopefully that stigma is disappearing so that we can start to address it, so that people can not be embarrassed to say, I struggle with this, so help me get on the right medication and treatment.
I feel like it's happening, over time, and that, we're better than we were 5 years ago and 10 years ago, and that we're heading in the right direction as a community and as people, and being more open about life and dropping stigmas.
So ICANN Housing, you're here today to educate us, but also you might be inspiring someone to help in some way. How can we do that?
Well, I will tell you, we've thought about this a lot and are very pointed in our response to that, because the needs are so varied and so vast. And so you become almost a niche, for lack of a better word. For example, I don't have a big warehouse. So if you bring me a busload of furniture, I'm not going to know where to put it.
Right.
However the stockpile can take it, and they can get it to the people we serve, right? So for us, it's those very basic needs. A bottle of shampoo and some toothpaste is a miracle. That scarf, like all of us are about to go through our winter coats and our scarves. How many, does it take 5 for you, or can you keep 2 and give me 3?
Okay, that's embarrassing, and yes, you're right.
Okay, so
you're right.
Those of us who have some resources have oodles of things in our very own home.
Yes.
How many strainers do you need?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So you look at what you have and you pare it down. You didn't hurt yourself at all, but you've helped people. Some folks have not even a spoon. So I've got a roof for you, but it's not a furnished apartment. So we have to put that together.
That's really important to know. And yet you don't have a place to store them.
We do. We have places for smaller items.
Okay.
We don't have the furniture, but we can take all these types of things: your coats, your boots, your hats, your
pots and pans.
Absolutely. Glasses, dishware, all the things that a home needs. Gently used towels, you name it. When you have nothing, it's very emotional to get something.
Yes. So one way it helps you kind of purge your own home of all the extras.
Exactly.
And then you're helping somebody who doesn't have anything to get back on their feet. Also, I'm thinking, every time we swing through and run an errand, how difficult is it to just pick up an extra? And think, particularly in these times, I think having it be top of the mind is maybe the main thing. We don't do it because we're not thinking about it. But if we become more aware and think about it a little more, just pick up one or two more and bring that
And
to
we'll make
you.
it simple for you. Our building is in such a way that you pull into our drive, there's a door right there, you open the door, you hand it to somebody, and you can leave, or you can wait 3 seconds for us to take your name and address and send you something, that you could do a tax deduction on. So it's pretty lickety-split if you're okay with that.
Julie, how else can we help? Do you take monetary donations? Do you have volunteers?
We do take monetary donations. And there are some people who send small amounts monthly, or they just feel moved, or sometimes people, when they lose a loved one, they'll say, hey, go ahead and, think about ICANN housing. I forget the question.
And do you accept volunteers?
Oh, yeah. We do in a very specific way. So if it's well organized, we have all these properties, right? So somebody moves out, which is great. They're moving up, they're moving out. That's fine. But now I have an empty apartment building or apartment that needs what's called turned over, if you will. So the faster that I can get maybe those walls painted or that place cleaned up or these knobs tightened, etc., faster I can get the next family
Just
in
get
there.
it ready
And
for
I
the
got
next.
3 guys. They're great guys, but they're 3. So we had a great help from Home Depot 2 weeks ago. They did an entire veterans home for us.
Wow.
So the lady had gotten a raise over here in North Canton, and she moved out. And 48 people came, and I'll move there. I'll move there in a heartbeat.
Oh, my goodness.
So there'll be a veteran. That happened to be a veteran home. There'll be a veteran in there yet this month.
That's so
who's right now
awesome.
on the street.
What kind of turnover is there?
It's not huge, but you want a moving on plan, if you will.
Yes.
Because, it's, like I said, there are people that are so severely off that we want to keep them in essence forever. But a lot of people, can pull it together, even if it's, hey, I never even got my GED. It may take a minute, but over the course of 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, however many, things can turn around. And people can be more ready to go into what we would call just market rate housing, or even what's called affordable housing, which is some of the, subsidized housing, but maybe you don't need the same high level of case management and support. You're doing okay now. And so that's where those turnovers, if you will, come from.
In life, as every once in a while, we get a little introspective and start thinking, okay, how am I using my days here on the earth? We look at somebody like you and think, okay, life well lived. You're doing it right. You're in the trenches.
Thank you.
That's got to be very rewarding. What brought you to do this with your life?
Well, it's very good of you to ask, and I have to credit my mother, period. We were raised with a social conscience from the first breath, and it took real hard with me. But it's very complex, and it's very very difficult, but very rewarding. So.
Well, thanks for what you're doing, because it certainly changes a lot of people's lives. Tell us again how we can reach you. Do you have a website and phone number and everything else?
Yes. Let's do the phone number again, because I feel like it's the easiest part of it. It's 330-455-9100, 9100. And we do have a website, and it has all of good information on it, and it's ICANN, which is ICAN-INC.org. So ICANN-inc.org.
Okay.
Or you can just, how it is with Google, type in ICANN housing, you'll be there.
It'll take you right to it. And for those who want to drop by and drop off some things, you are located where?
1214 Market Avenue North in Canton.
Awesome. Julie Sparks, ICANN Housing, thanks so much for all you do in our community.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.